All right. Good morning, everyone. Jeez, blood in the market. Major blood in the market. If you haven't seen the new AI from China, they had a press conference last night causing major fear in the market that we've been overspending on AI here. Fears that it's a bubble and it's starting to pop. Question is this a dip that's going to be bought up, or are we looking to fade this market now after a failed breakout effectively on the spiders and relative weakness on the Qs last week, never making an all-time high, and since then we've rolled all the way back to the Bollinger Bands. So let's have a look at that now. Daily chart, right, as you can see, last week came up, shifted through this pivot, soaked for 1, 2, third day, pushed, never took out this pivot high, failed at the top Bollinger Band, and then last night we have just absolutely melted all the way back to the lower Bollinger Band. Now, if you remember when we were down here at the beginning of the year, on the 13th of Jan, I was saying that all this liquidity here feels like it should be cleared up. We never really melted it, so I would be watching fades, all right, in and around here to clean these up, all right, especially a break of this. So today, ideally, I'm looking for a pop to fade. That's the ideal scenario for me. Where would that pop be? Well, we can have a look at the higher time frame charts to have a think about those levels. Let me know you can all hear me in chat before I continue. Very quiet in chat this morning. Hopefully everyone can hear me nice and clean. Yeah, okay, perfect. All right, so the levels I'm looking at is point of control overnight, right here. Into right now 68. I'd really like to also think about this move here into the VWAP from overnight. All right, somewhere in here, the lower end of London, somewhere here as supply. Do we fade that and go and clean up for a rotation back down? I really don't want it to just get stuck here right now. I'd much rather see a failed attempt and this back down for the open. Things to consider today. The range is huge. All right, we melted over 1,000 points overnight. All right, that's a huge move. Your ATR is massive. The liquidity overnight was very thin. So we've gone and washed out a lot of stops overnight. You have to be careful. I already woke up to guys in the room saying, you know, I had like a $200 stop loss in and it's taken 500, 600, 700 out. It will do that in this market. All right, remember your stops are market stops most of the time. And if it's thin and it goes through your stop by 20, 30, 40 points, don't be surprised in this market, all right? Do not be surprised. Things we also need to consider, the VIX. VIX is gapping up, right? VIX last week was in that channel. We said if it keeps holding there, it's going to build out a potential squeeze. It gapped up, right? 1528 breakout, opened last night or this morning at 1880, now trading at 2165, building a nice W pattern and flag on the 10-minute. For a potential move higher on the VIX. All right, so pivot on the VIX really would be 22.25. That's an old high that we had January 13th. If we get through there, we're going to be thinking about a run up into 26, 27s from the beginning of this year, end of last year. So that's what I'm watching on the VIX. If we're going to get continued fear in the market, if they're going to bid the VIX up. Overnight, where we found our dips, right? We found our dips in the SPY and the Qs right off support. But like I said, that lower Bollinger Band got tagged, but I would not be surprised if we fade lower. The question really is, are we going to do it today or does this need some relief? Right? We might need some consolidation. And this consolidation can be in a huge range. And that's what's scary in this market right now. It is the range, and that's where you've got to be careful with your sizing and be very careful if you're looking to market in and out. All right, limits are going to be your friend today. You need to make sure you're getting filled at the price you want. Unless we see a lot more liquidity come on the book and the spread tightens up, but definitely last night the spread was at times very large. You've got to be a little bit careful about that. Limit down day, not totally out the question. We're not near there yet, but we are 3.6% down. Almost 4% down at those lows, so I need to be careful about that. Lots of tech likely to be going on short sale restricted, I would have said. Let's have a look. Nvidia definitely will open up SSR. Tesla, not quite, I don't think. Meta, definitely not. Sorry, just scanning around. Google, not yet. Apple, not yet. Or would it if it hit that low? I don't think yet. 446, 40 points off that. Microsoft, not yet. Apple, not yet. Amazon, not yet. All right, so just Nvidia, by the looks of it, will be SSR. So chip names getting hit. So far, all right, once we put in that huge wick low, to the main chart, sorry, once we put in that huge wick low, this down here, this stop run here, which was from 930 to 760. Look, 1, 2, 3 in 4 minutes. And it's like a 300-point move. So 100-point a minute. Once we did that, let's get this anchored view up off the low. Sorry, I've misplaced that. Let's just make sure that's set correctly. I want it off this low right here. Let's do that as blue. Once we did that and we started to pivot back up, then you had lower time frame or higher time frame buyers come in and maybe some shorts just covering right now as we start to bid up. So really, I'm watching how we trade between this level right here, point of control here, and view up here. This might be a chop range. It will be large chop, but it might be chop range. All right, that's still 300 points. I would love to see some form of failed attempt to reclaim, something like this for a rotation back down. I would like to stick with short bias all the time we are under that. If we start to reclaim this level, maybe we're going to go for some higher prices, as in a deeper pullback, because remember our pivots, right? We faded, it's hard to see. We faded from the Sunday open from here. All right, so if we were going to measure that out, it's got a long way it can go back, but somewhere into here would be ideal. That red box, 50%. If we start getting deeper up here, I'm going to be very, very cautious about trying to fade that. All right, if too many shorts are coming in the market late right now, I'm going to be careful. Remember, the news, all right, is China news, and it depends how the New York market accepts it. Do they really think that China are able to build this AI tech at, you know, a tenth of the price that we're spending in America? That's what it's going to come down to. But so far, fear in the market. I'm not looking to be a buyer today. I want to let this market calm down. Ideally, I want to see a morning drive, a failure, and then some sort of short, which I can take for a rotation. Some sort of short from around here, which I can take for a rotation back to some cover points in here and then hold runners. Right, so that's what I'm thinking in my head, but I'm going to wait for market open. I'd like to see a pop at market open, but we might get the opposite. We might get everyone getting to their desks and absolutely getting stopped out instantly on cash. So I just want to see how we react here. Plenty of time, like we said, VIX gapping up. But we have found a pivot at that low for now, but I'm not really interested in being a buyer in this market. Let's get through the chart. Good morning, Jeff, Exister, Noah, Miguel, Eva, Chris, Daniel, Jonathan, Miguel again, Exister, Thumper, TR, Kathy, Ramos, Peter, TR, and Marek. Pocket market open. What does that mean? I'm not sure what you mean there, TR. And Minix. Good morning, everyone. So, oh, pop, a pop. Sorry, not pocket, a pop. A pop at market open. A drive up to fade. Sorry, that's my my accent probably coming through there. Morning, Rob. I did make a little bit of money overnight. All right, so one Tradify account. I was up a few thousand. I'm up about, not very much here, about 1,500, 1,600 across my Apex accounts. So I'm just going to trade Apex today together. Fear with those other accounts is that I can only make 20% per day, and if I get a big flush and it goes over that, it's going to be a pain. So I'm just going to trade Apex today, and we'll see how we go. I'd like to think about fading this. We're already starting to break the trend. We have already starting to break here in this channel. I really want to see a test up here for a rotation. That's what I'd love to see. I was short in Asia. Yeah, I was short in Asia last night, and I covered in the 500s as we started to settle down in those 500s. Yeah, I can send it to you there. It was on Discord. Where are we? Yeah. So how do I show you that? Those old ones right here. So covering shorts here, and that was coming into 7 o'clock my time, which is 8, 9, 10 o'clock. Yeah, exactly. Around 7 o'clock, sorry. So what I'm trying to work out what that would have been. 7 o'clock my time. So 10, is that right? I'm gonna have to look at that. My head is scrambled today. 500s, where were you? Find this cover point. Yeah, between 9 and 10 market time, New York time, when I started covering. Oh, it's 6:30 in the morning for me, coming up to. Right, so I'm 3 hours behind market here. So it's starting to roll over here. This is not what I want to see, and I don't want to chase. If I chase this breakdown here and I have to risk that, that is way, way, way too much. I'm not risking 80 to 100 points on these trades, right? I need this to move up and fail. So that's what I'm looking for. We'll not be chasing breakdowns today. Exactly, yeah. It was 10 coming into 10 p.m. I think it was about 9:45 Eastern. I started covering. But just going to be patient today, all right? Huge move overnight. Just let them settle down at the open. Expect this to be very, very crazy the first few minutes, because they're going to have a lot of inventory to move around here in New York. Start of the week as well, so weekly and daily inventory. Lots of these traders might be waking up very, very red. There might be lots of stops which got run as well. I have to see how they act here. I want to see how the mag do out the open. Remember, we've got FOMC coming on Wednesday as well. A little bit of a wild week here. Oh, you're in Scotland. Nice. I bet it's cold and wet up there right now. So liquidity on the book. What do we have? We have some huge buy orders at 975, 950, 925. About 500 lot down there. We have sell orders above, but much smaller. Much smaller. Sell orders into 200, then it gets a little thin, and then more sell orders into 250. 300 is 100 lot. 350 is 75 lot, and 400 a 50 lot. So I'm just going to let this just shake out and do whatever it wants at the open, and then we're going to judge it from there. 30 seconds left until the open. Would love to see a drive higher and a fail. If it drives higher and it starts to base and reclaim, then maybe I'll consider those counter trend longs. But I really do not like the idea of trying to get long in this market right now, which is very, very fearful. TR in Gloucestershire. Does that mean you're are you a Gloucester fan, a Cherries fan? So here's the morning drive. Can we get that push higher to fade? That's what I'm thinking about. Liquidity on the book here, they're starting to come in. It's a bit thin, I'm going to be honest. 21,160, 165, and 180s are on the book. This is what I want to see. This drive higher here, but beautiful. Now, can we keep going? Can we drive higher, clear out some of these stops, see how we act? So Apple opening green on the day. Would you believe it? 1% up. Microsoft 4.3% down. Amazon 3% down. Google 3.3% down. Meta 2% down. Nvidia 13% down, which is why I was saying that is short sale restricted. And Tesla 2.5% up. The market is very, very red. VIX spacing out. How far can this drive? Do we come and tag VWAP? Something like that where we can think about a short. That's what I'm looking for and thinking about What is the reaction here? How far up do they want to drive? VIX with a bit of a gap down at the open there. From 22s to 20s. This is a big, big squeeze. So this is what I was looking for. I'm not in this long. I want to see where this sort of fades out here. If it doesn't fade out, if they're just going to rip this all day, I'm probably not going to play it. So here's the move, continuing higher. Do they come and pop these stops into 270s here? Here's the move into VWAP. Still going like a big, big, big squeeze here. Still moving higher. I want to see if they start to show some exhaustion on the tape or not. If this is short covering to go lower, or do they just start to reclaim? Wild tape this morning. Lots of stops in here. I think about Asia, London, where they could possibly go. London high is so far away. 400. So does it hold a base overview up here? Watching the tape selling out at 300 with a 100 lot. He's trying to drag it up towards 300 now. Morning, Christy. So this is the kind of area I'm interested in. Do they start stalling out here and reversing this all the way back down? Or do they base here and are they going to go for a monster squeeze? So small size here, looking for that reversal back down. Lovely. So everything we talked about from before the open. Beautiful. That's a nice trade already, taking some off. Right, this might not look like a lot team, but there's like 40, 50 point flushes very, very quickly. Being protective here, just in case they try and catch this off these key levels. I need to be careful here if they're going to do this kind of move. But like I said, I'm looking for fades and ideally that. Still looking good. Stops are at 50 right now. Can we get that fade back down? Looking good here. Don't want to see this flag and hold for a new push. Want to just see this fail down. How we act at 200 is going to be key. All this planned out pre-market. So all those trolls who come here and have been there at the weekend, you're absolute idiots. Trading live, told you what I was looking for. And so sick of having trolls turn up on my YouTube now. So if we reclaim 50, I'll take this off in case it wants to do a flag and go. Remember, we're pro-trend looking for shorts, but we're counter-trend in this leg until it proves right. There you go, 50. So taking off there, so we'll do a lock in. Pretty good there. Watching ES, watching the spiders. Do they go back up to the pre-market open? Why is that come off spiders? There we go. So pre-market open would be a drive back towards 600 on the SPY. Does it fail 600? Yeah, they decided to turn up this weekend for some weird reason. I was spammed with them, so probably another trader getting annoyed, being a bit hateful. It's okay. I don't react to any of it. I just leave it. But it is amazing when you give information out for free and try and help people that is the reaction from this world. But hey ho. Market's still red. Apple with amazing strength here. 1.7% up on the day now. Microsoft 4% down. Amazon 3% down, Google 3.2% down, Meta 3% down, Nvidia 11.5% down, Tesla 2.3% down. Do they start to bleed here? Is what I'm wondering. The only thing I'm cautious about is the flag and go through VWAP for a new squeeze. So I've taken one short here for this move back down. It's not giving me a big flush that I want, so I'm just going to let this base out. Let the opening 5-15 minutes go by and see what we get. If we start to keep reclaiming key levels, we've got to be careful thinking about these counter trend trades, because a trade through 260, we get very thin from 260 up to 500. Very thin on the book there from what we printed last night. Like I said, there's a seller at 300 and there's another seller at 350. So maybe they're looking for a pop a little bit higher. Maybe they need to clean out more shorts first. I only want to focus on that short rotation back to retest some of the lows from the overnight session if we get through that runners. I don't really want to be thinking about the longs today, even if they set up. The reason for that is the daily is bearish, the 4 hour is bearish, the hourly is bearish. So I really want to focus on being a bear. Morning, Idris. Yeah, Nvidia's SSR as well. Right, so shorts are going to have a little bit more trouble today now on Nvidia and tomorrow as well. Right, so they can only sell upticks on Nvidia today. You couldn't chase the market down on it. Right, so you can't smash into it as it starts to fade and fails levels. You could only short Nvidia on pops up today. So you have to get limit filled above price. So it's going to make it a little bit more tricky for Nvidia to move lower unless it's bull selling. Obviously, they can sell at any point, but shorts, they can only sell pops. It would be the same tomorrow. Yeah, Nvidia getting hammered because it's big in that AI space, in that chip maker space. And the news overnight coming from that new AI generator, which is rivaling open source and able to do it much cheaper, allegedly. The question the market will have is, this is just a genuine question the market will always have, is when it comes out of China, is it legit? Because they are very, very well known for lying about their technology and cost of product. So is it legit? Are they actually able to produce it that cheap? If they are, then it looks like America's overspent or the world's overspent on AI. Open interest in what, TR? So market reclaiming VWAP here on the ES, on the spiders. Drifting higher. I still like the sells. The question is when. Like structure-wise, we can't sell right now. We're just drifting higher. We had one quick attempt at the open, in case that was going to be it. And we've got liquidity coming into 300. And we talked about might want to come and clear out this guy at 300, then 350. And it gets a little thin here. This is what I'm scared of. Why I'm saying it's thin is look at overnight right here. All the volume was built up into here. This pocket here is very thin. So you need to see this fail. Otherwise, we might squeeze all the way up, which would be a scary play to think about. Big retracement here. Big retracement coming back towards the 20-day. Remember, on the daily, those that missed the morning, I was on a bit earlier today, but we talked about that rotation from top bowl all the way to lower bowl. Mean reversion will be to 20, right? So 50% from here to here will be 20-day. Didn't quite fill that order at 300 yet. Getting a little bit jumpy here into 300. John, mean reversion. What, you're looking for the trade higher off overnight? Yeah, I mean, It's already, where are we at? It's got to be near to 50% since that open already. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's right at 50% now, John. So if you go from Sunday open to now, or that Sunday high to now, we're already at 50%. Mean reversion on the daily to the 20-day would be into around 440, 450s. We just have to say to see. I'm going to focus on the shorts today. There's fear in the market. I want to focus on the shorts. I'm looking to fade pops. Really, I need the setup though. If this holds VWAP, then maybe we squeeze higher here. The scary thing is here, like you take this trade through VWAP, you've got to risk the high as 40 points. So structure-wise, we're still bullish on the 1 minute chart since the New York Open. VIX coming back down into its support levels, sub 20. All right, so failed that breakout coming into 1940s. It needs to hold, I would say, this low pivot of 1880. If it can't hold that, it fades into the gap. Market will do the same. We'll just pump into the gap. Remember, we've got a huge gap into Friday close. If it really wants to do that, I find it hard to believe, but it would have to trade all the way up here into 915. But I've seen weirder things. Yeah, I've seen weirder things. So ES 1.7% down, NQ just under 3% down. Are they going to let go of this VWAP now? It's the question. They still haven't cleared the 300. Really want to see that guy at 300 get cleared out before I think about anything else. YM 0.2% down and RTY 0.3% down. So they're holding on better. Why? Because it's not tech. All right, they're not tech-based. Tech's what's getting hit the hardest. Bitcoin as well. Give that pullback overnight under 100K, starting to absorb it now. Wondering, are they just going to start selling this really hard here through VWAP? Caught a little bit of a bounce here and took that. I was long there just for that move, just to scalp off VWAP back up, selling into that. So locking in more money there, you can see. It's happening so quick. I had a very, very tight stop. I had like a 2-point stop on that and managed to pick it up. I'm going to kick myself for not holding more now. So here's the drive back through 300. Like I said, I'm not thinking about the short really until we take out that 300 and fail back down. Structurally, we're still saying upside right now on the lower time frame from a structure point of view on the lower time frame. Thought for a minute I was going to get absolutely hammered through that. Tapping into 300. All right, he got most of his filled in that last move. There you go, fully filled here. Next guy will be up at 325, 50 lot there. And then 350, 400, 450. Remember I said it gets thin here on the H1. All right, on the high time frame, it starts to get thin here for this move up. So do they protect this? Is this where they do this kind of move back down into here and then runners? That's what I'm thinking. That's the main play I would like to see today. Morning, BU. Remember, the biggest buyers on the book, where have they gone? They might have just left. They've just left the party. They were down at 900. They've gone. So I'll look to see if they come back on later. They have gone. So they're not expecting to get filled right now. If they've left, there was a 500 lot down there. And they have gone. So maybe continuation higher here. Can the market shake off the news, I guess, is the question. Do they think, hey, this is bullshit? There's no way they can produce these chips. Is this just a huge washout? What I find interesting is, if you remember back 2 weeks ago, we were saying how it was really weird that they didn't clear out the 20,600s. And I would have felt better about a long once we cleared 20,600 and then turned up. We never cleared it. We hit a low of 20,007 or something. And then we pumped all the way up to the top Bollinger, and it's taken 1 day, or I guess 2 days if you include Friday, for that fail all the way back down to the lower Bollinger. It's so aggressive, this market. All right, this move here is so aggressive. But the fact that we didn't clear all this out, this is, might need to put that on a March contract to see it. Bear with me, team. Let's... These guys here you go. These guys here, I was looking to clear all these guys out and we didn't do it. So rotation, mean reversion will be here into 20-day. From starting to trade through 50% now, maybe into golden zone. So just got to wait for this to peter out today if you're thinking about the short. If you're looking for that kind of short play like me, have to wait for it to peter out. But the big thing right now is, if it's going to build this, can it go and attack higher? Because London high will be basically the 20-day into 400, 415-ish. Right now, they're just absorbing everything. Shorts at that low is probably getting squeezed, and you've got this trend line liquidity, which is starting to get munched through. So I guess the next area really we can think about, on the right chart, sorry, wrong chart, thought I might have done that, would be this sort of point here. And that London level is these guys right here. Bulls on parade this morning, or at least shorts covering, getting squeezed. M5 flags starting to build on the spiders here. And can they get up to the open point of the ETFs? That's the other thing. That's what we're trading towards at the moment. So the cash and the options kind of open on the ETFs. Can they get up into those levels? Lots of liquidity starting to come onto the book here. 325, 337, 350. And then 400, 450, 500. Sounds like a long way away, but these moves are aggressive. We've had a peak ATR this morning of 90 points. Can easily happen again. Structure-wise, still bullish right now, still holding key levels. But maybe this will turn into support now. We have to see, still very early. It might move this to a 2-minute chart, team, just because it's kind of hard to see right now. Let's do a print off that morning shove as well. For the anchor. That's the tough thing. When the range is so big and we're looking at small time frames, you can't really see anything when you look left. It's so far away. News in 10 minutes. What's that news? Let's have a look. Oh, yeah. Home sales. Not too worried about that. Might get thin, but not too worried on how that affects the market this morning. Starting to peter out here a little bit, but we are above VWAP. We are above the flow zones. I am going to respect that, even though I really think in general, we want to move back towards the lows. We need to retest those lows and make sure they're firm before any real buying can step in. So at the moment, this feels like a little bit of a short squeeze. Maybe that London high is the first level it wants to attack. I just sat in my hands. I was short for the fade through VWAP, and then I grabbed the long on VWAP for that move back up towards the highs. Didn't hold runners, probably should have, but it's fine. I'm going to take my money in this market. And then we'll see now, do we continue to rebuild? At what point do we get a failed breakout, a failed squeeze higher? At what point do we start making a lower low and a lower high for that rotation back down? We've got a long way to go back down. If we get a failure and we can re-attack sort of 20,900, 20,760, that's a long, long way away. All right, 500 points to attack. You won't need much size in this. Nvidia doing really, really well here. Clawing back like 4 or 5% already. Tesla now, all right, 0.8% down. So the market trying to claw back some of that blood. The question is, do sellers come back in? Andrew, Tesla is, Nvidia already is SSR, mate. Over 10%, it's SSR. It's already SSR. It was 14% down at the open today. It was the first thing I talked about. So today and tomorrow it'd be SSR. But everything else, not 10% down there, okay. You can still short it. You just need to short pops. So you need to have limit orders above price. You need to short pops. What you can't do is chase the market down. You can't mark it in as it's moving lower. So on SSR, basically, if I had, let's say I was trying to short this, if I had a sell order up here and it came into it, I could get it. What I couldn't do is if we start falling and just mark it in and try and chase price down, it won't let you do that on SSR. No worries, Andrew. All right, 71 of you watching here, do me a favor, hit that like button. Let's get it up to 50. Yes, trying to base over its VWAP here for a 5-minute flag. It is in some form of supply. All right, old support that we created way back on January 20th. Like, does it start to fail into these levels, or is it going to continue to chomp its way through for overnight sessions? Looking at the ETFs as well for those print opens from overnight for the ETF. So I'm watching how the SPY reacts if it can get a squeeze up to 600 here. I'm not long in this. Give some clarity. I was short here, covered, break even on the rest, move up, pull back. I was long there, took it out into this. Should have held runners. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Just being a little proactive in this market because I don't fully trust it getting long, which is what I did. I said I wasn't going to long, but this was too good here to resist. Nice structure, VWAP, anchored VWAP, everything there. And I could only had to risk, had a limit in here at what, 36, 38. Only had to risk a tiny bit. So there's your first failure. So does this print lower now? Quite clear that some sellers came in there on the tape. Building that trend line liquidity so far. Or can they drift it higher? There's still a seller on the tape at 350 right now. A new H1, a new H4 bar coming as well. Have to think about that in 5 minutes. So retest of 300. Do they let go 300? Are they about to get heavy here? Reabsorbed. See how quick this is moving right now on the tape. It's crazy. Even when we're in range, the amount of orders coming in. They're just stacking up both sides of bid and ask right now. Just like spreading their lots. We're still holding M1 flow zones. Remember, this is on an M2. Structure still bullish so far. No failure. Still bullish. Squeezing higher. This feels like shorts are trapped in this and it's squeezing. I want to see where that changes. Where is there an exchange? But we're into sort of thin price here. London high would be 412. 20-day would be just above that. It's another 100 points higher, which is insane, and it could probably do it in 10 seconds if it really wanted to. But I'm going to wait for this new H1, H4 bar here. Yeah, we're repricing that whole H4 bar. The whole last H4 bar is being repriced here. This is this current H4, which is about to end. So how do we act into these levels will be key. So far, no pops to fade. This is just grinding higher. SPY's got another 1.5 points until it gets to that 600 mark, which I'm sort of watching on the ETFs. All right, that was the pre-market open that we faded from, so I've just got one eye on that. VIX starting to break down underneath that pivot we talked about. So it's into its gap now on the VIX. Uh, 350 still on the tape. So really, I'm watching the pivots more like 360 into 410 from that London session, and the 20-day above that, and then just see how we act here. Again, I'm not going to just get short in this, and I'm not. I had the long opportunity. I should have held it. That's my fault. I really wasn't long bias coming into this. I feel much more comfortable when this starts to fade about getting involved. So new H1, new H4 bar here. So just expect some extra liquidity here. News as well. We've got very, very thin underneath. No bar until 250 underneath right now. Sellers on top. 340s into 350s. Waiting for liquidity to come back on the book here. Did that news hit? I didn't even look. Haven't seen it yet. So how are we at 300? That whole number, I guess, key. Are they going to start to sell? This is what I'm questioning. We've built this liquidity higher. Are they going to start to fail here? So far, higher highs and higher lows the whole way through. Just the start of a wash. Here's 300. This for me sort of key level here and then down into this block. I'm waiting to see if there's a way or reason, I should say, to get involved. Still holding higher highs and higher lows so far. No reason to think about short yet. Need it to really prove to me. The flow zone's still holding as well. New home sales forecast was 2%. It hit 3.6%. That's actually quite positive. Positive for the market. People looking to buy homes again. Just letting this shake out here. Point of control now moved up to 250s. Every part of me wants to find a fade in this. It's just, will it set up? Momentum still upside in the New York session. Higher time frame, we are in a sell. We're looking for reasons to sell this in my mind. And then it feels better underneath point of control, underneath VWAP, if we can come back down towards that open and then really attack those overnight lows. That would be magnificent. ES coming back towards its VWAP here. Do they stay heavy versus 300, I guess, is the sort of key. Starting to think about getting involved here. Very, very small. Involved now. Very, very small. Oof. There we go. And we get that melt to VWAP now. Watching ES. I don't want ES to bounce on VWAP. I want it to let it go. Trading back into this block, which could be demand. I'm watching anchored VWAP and VWAP right here. Do they let them go? Remember, this is the liquidity we built, so we're aiming for this. Need to respect this level in here if buyers come in. If we melt under that, then I feel much more confident for lower prices. All right, darling. Sorry about that, team. Oof. Okay. So holding that anchored view up off the New York Open for now. Not let go of the flow zones yet. All right. Still in trend up. I know I'm early, looking for that short a few times. Scalped some out there. Needs to stay heavy versus 300. Otherwise, I don't like it. ES still holding its view up as well. Technically, we're still bullish on this New York session. Although overall, for me, we are in a sell on the daily, on the hourly, etc., etc. So want to see what we do here. Still printing above point of control. Still no clear big failure. Still no clear massive sellers coming to market and slam us down. So the longer we just keep absorbing upside, the more I'm like, maybe I've got this wrong today. Maybe we need to drift much, much higher. The Q's looking pretty good here on the ETF. Looking good here versus 300. The problem is that block that we've created. The problem is, are we going to use this as structure to go higher, or are we going to revisit this, break down, either could trap here or break down and come and check some of these out, which is what I would like, because for me, this is not firm structure if it's built overnight. So really, if buyers really want to come in, genuine buying, I'm talking about genuine buying, I would like to see a retest of these lows and then see some buying come back in. I don't really want to see a pivot at, before 6 a.m. market time and just drift all the way higher and never come and retest it. If it's going to do that for a few days, then I'm going to be thinking about short later in the week. If we're going to do this whole move here, then we've got FOMC Wednesday. Maybe that's the day. See what he does. Trump saying he's going to force him to do a cut. I don't think he can force Powell to do anything, but we will see. But holding that structure, you can see the anchor VWAP came in clutch there. Holding structure again for this trade. So next level up here. Failed breakout would be this. And you just have to be willing to go both ways right now. Like someone with keys in a fruit bowl. Activate. He was saying he would force Powell to do 4 or 5 cuts this year or something. He would tell him he had to do it. Whereas the Fed technically is completely independent. So we'll see. So the range this morning looks tiny, doesn't it? It looks tiny on the New York session. It's 230 points. It's not tiny. It's huge. So failed breakout there of those highs. All right. This is the first real time I felt like these sellers coming in here. So I'm watching the volume candles here. Do they just keep soaking back up, soaking back up? ES back to VWAP here. This is the first time where it might start to roll over. It's what I'm wondering. Back to point of control. It's a contentious kind of area, I would say, right now. So we build around the anchored VWAP, ES around its VWAP, and we're around that point of control right now. You can see the POC here. All right. So if and when we let go, activate. This is just on a 1 right now, but I'm not really. I'm watching the higher time frames right now. I want to see if there's a 5-minute failure up here. Re-soaked again. That point of control key, I'm telling you. Still soaking POC. So do they do a W here, hold those flow zones and go, or is this start of a bear flag and a rotation down? Is this the start of like this kind of move, or are they going to do this? I have no idea. It's very, very contentious. And my gut is to fade pops today. That's what we should be thinking about in terms of pro trend. But if shorts are caught off those lows, then who knows how high it can squeeze first, right? That's the key. We've got 20 minutes left until the IB is set. Yeah, it does. TR, we go over the Bollinger Bands. Are we going to trade all the way back to 500? It'd be insane recovery to do that, but it's possible, isn't it? So lower high there, lower high, lower high. Does it get a break? If it doesn't get a break, then shorts might get squeezed here. If it breaks lower, you might get a quick rotation down. Remember, NVIDIA SSR. VIX still breaking down here as well. Still holding flow zones, still holding point of control, still above the VWAPs and the anchored VWAPs. But my gut saying at some point they will want to rotate this lower and retest towards the lows. So is this the start of the bear flag here that I'm thinking about? It will need to let go. I cannot say it enough. It needs to let go of point of control and the VWAPs for me to feel good about this. Watching this bear flag very carefully now. Very, very contentious level here, right on point of control. This is the biggest volume traded from overnight and this morning. All the volume's been built here in and around 290,300. We have the anchored VWAP off the New York session and the VWAP below. Can't talk below. It looks like we're going to do the bear flag type move. You have to watch ES into VWAP as well. All right, remember, bulls will try and hold. They will try and hold these levels. There's nothing confirmed yet for a rotation. You will need lower lows and lower highs. They will try and hold these levels. We just talked about lower high, lower high, lower high, no lower low yet. All right, so this is your range. Can do anything in here. It can fail breakout, it can fail breakout, and it can trend, and it can trend. So being very patient here, letting it build out. Want everyone else to become the information. You're gonna have to bear with me. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry, team. I'm going to level with you. My stomach's been doing absolute somersaults for since last night, yesterday afternoon. Don't know what I've eaten. BU, Idris is saying that because also we have FOMC on Wednesday. Here we go. So bear flag trying here. ES back to VWAP again. Be careful. There is news out of Russia there. I just hit the wire. So this bear flag starting to break down now. And we're starting to trade underneath the point of control. Now, how do we act at these VWAPs? This is the kind of move I was looking for. I should have got back 1 minute earlier. Do we start to fade this? Do they let go of these VWAPs now? This is the question. It's very, very key, these levels. Is this the start of a roll? So do we start to fade pops here? Still early, but do we start to fade pops here? Watching for sellers, watching for liquidity. Liquidity on the book is at 350. Buyers underneath. There's no huge numbers stacked up like there were earlier. There's one at like 235, but there's nothing massive. That makes me a little bit nervous. I'm going to be honest. I wanted those magnets, that 500 lot, to drift towards. Would have been ideal. Do we start to snap here? Into VWAP here on the Qs. Morning Mindful Matters. So this was the play we were looking for. Starting to happen now. So do we get rotation all the way back down? But I really wanted to focus on the shorts this morning. So holding VWAP for now. Remember that 290, 300 key as an over and under for sentiment. Looks good here now. Looking really good. Joining this for continuation, looking for the snap. Joined on that last pop-up. I want to just see this just break down and bleed. Would love to go and aim for at least 200s and then can hold and think about an all-day fade if it really wants to play ball. Oh my God, my Ninja Copper traders just failed. Don't need that on a day like today. There we go. Beautiful. Lovely. There we go. So looking for this now down into sort of these stops here. And under that, I'm going to think about lower prices, right? That we can reprice. I'm going to respect this structure, but really, I think we can do this move here if it really wants to get going. All right, so I'm going to respect this. I'm going to respect this. And then underneath there, I'm going to think about a rotation all the way down. Right, because the higher time frame trend is bearish. So all we've done is pull back 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. And this is the 5th hour, new H4 bar, and maybe we can sell back down. Looking great. Hopefully some of you are in this. Make sure you're paying yourself a little bit of money. This range is massive. If you took that bear flag, all right, and I took any of these pops here, you're already up very, very nicely. So just make sure you pay yourself a little bit of money. I would not want to see it reclaim point of control. That's the one thing I wouldn't want to see. So holding those deep pullback flow zones. I want to see this fail. I want to see ES fail into its VWAP. It's underneath. It's pushing into it. I want to see sellers come back on the tape. I really want to see a magnet below. It's the one thing that has me slightly concerned. There was a 500 lot this morning. I can't remember where he was. If anyone remembers, I think it was around 900, 925. I would love to see him come back on the book, or them come back on the book, but not seeing that. That's the one thing that concerns me. Because the main liquidity, they keep adding it higher. The 50 lot, or 70 lot at 350. There's a 50 lot at 400. There's a 60 lot at 450. And there's a 66 lot at 550. I want to see liquidity added lower so that I know the market will run for it. Like I said, you have to make sure you're paying yourself in these markets, but we can hold runners for the continuation lower. Don't want reclaim of these VWAPs here. If you're looking for that continuation, you want a lower high now. All right, breakdown, you want a lower high and a lower low and a wash run of these. You do not want them to get back up here. This is dangerous territory up here as a short. You just want continuation lower. ES rejecting VWAP there. Can come into its ETF VWAP underneath here as well. So just watching that carefully. Nvidia starting to give back. So the mag starting to give back. Those pops starting to be faded now, which is what we're looking for. Amazing strength from Apple. Absolutely incredible. That's green on the day. Insane. But I guess it was the weaker one all of last week. Bleeding, 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 bleeding. Bottomed out underneath that 220. Found bids. So maybe it's done. It's done the notable pullback it needed already. Yeah, it was a nice move. Like, it looks like nothing, doesn't it? Like, it's crazy. This looks like nothing, but these pops here, if you took any of these pops into 300, into here, that's 70 points. That's a lot. It's a big move. It just doesn't look like a lot. It's a big, big move. 70 points is a big move. Should be paying yourself on those. Watching this trade now, starting to try and reclaim that key level that we keep talking about, the point of control. Reclaiming POC now. So this is the danger here, like I said. Do not want to be short in here. This is asking to get wrecked. One leg, two leg, buyers come in, hold the deep flows and pull back, and then we go upside. And they respected this here. Like I said, you have to respect the structure left. Yeah, the structure on ES exactly the same. That sort of pullback area from 8:30 this morning and even yesterday. They are it's starting to look like that inverse head and shoulders look across the charts right now, which would have me concerned as a short, someone looking for the short. So I might be off on thesis today. It might be a day early, who knows? If we think about, where is my drawing tools gone? This here and this here. If they go back up for this, if they get through this, back up to here, and then this would be like nothing's even happened. All right, we get back to here. Nothing's happened. Build liquidity, go higher. Then all smart money who bought here are just going to be laughing if they do that. It's a long way to go. But, you know, we are moving down off Chinese news. I did say it at the open, like, do the hedge funds really trust the news out of China? Do they really trust it? What's going on with the Chinese ADRs? I know they were gapping up. Have they continued to gap up? No, they're giving everything back. So there's the gap up. Alibaba sold. So that's telling me that they think a lot of the news coming out of China is bullshit. So now we just play technicals. We just play the technicals in front of us and nothing else. So again, if this holds up here, I'd be cautious. As a bull, I'd be thinking we can squeeze. If enough shorts got trapped down there, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Remember, that's fractal of what's going on. Zooming out. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And we've got this trend line liquidity we talked about earlier in the day. So maybe it's going to continue to squeeze upside now. It looks good for it. I'm going to be honest. I'm chilling right now. I'm at like $8,500 on this session. So, and that's not including my Traderfy account. So I'm up about $10,000 on the day. So I am straight chilling. Straight chilling right now. Morning, Foster Scott. Activate if I don't understand. You must be way oversized versus this market if you're doing that, dude. I think we talked about the same stuff last week. You've got a size for the ATR in front of you. Looks good for continuation now. Now that they trapped underneath these, respected these, if they're going to build this out, this is fractal moments for a squeeze. The question is how high. I'm trying to think about on the H1. I'd say the next block is all the way up at 500. Like we talked about earlier in the day, it gets thin. It starts to get thin above that sort of point of control. And that's the concern. Into this pocket here, it gets thin all the way up into here. 20-day and London high all stacked together around the 400 mark. One of those days when you just had to adjust your thesis constantly. Yeah, Ramus, that's it. We have to be flexible, right? Higher time frame is saying lower, right? Higher time. If we think about higher time frame, where we go. Think about the hourly. It's just the range that we need to think about, right? Zoom in a little bit here. All right, so last week we were looking for higher prices here. We failed on Friday, and then we had this gap down. All right, so we've got to think about all the buyers up here woke up on Sunday trapped. We talked about it in, if you're in the room, we talked about it on the Sunday Open. I was like, all those buyers are trapped, could get nasty. Right, so then we think about how the market's moved. All right, on an hourly, it needs to come all the way back here to pivot anything. This is a pullback on the hourly. This is why I'm thinking about where can I fade? Do I fade here? What's the pullback leg? How far is it going to go before we get a retest of the low? Now, once we retest the low, maybe the bulls come in and try and save it, and then we create like some form of W. But like from a technical standpoint, we should go lower. I'd always protect my profits. But what I can't do, I've had a couple attempts here trying to get the rotation. If it doesn't want to do the rotation, it doesn't want to do the rotation. That's it. Like, I have to respect what's in front of me. Right now, we are holding point of control and we're drifting higher. But these are the buyers who are absolutely effed. These guys here. These guys here are in major flipping trouble. These guys in this grey box, right? These are the guys who are in pain. So we just have to see how deep is this pullback. Like, do we measure from this high on a fib to this low, coming into 50%? Do we measure from the Sunday Open? We're coming into golden pocket, right? These are all areas where I don't really love the thought of being a buyer. All right, so initial balance now printed. You're now into IB. Yeah, exactly, John. Like we expect a short squeeze. The question is where do we think that the buyers will get trapped now? I didn't want, like, the buy opportunity for me, the really nice buy opportunity was this. Man, I feel like my drawing tools keep vanishing today. Where has it gone? By taking it off favorite. My pen has literally just disappeared. Where has it gone? Brush. There we go. All right, this here for me was a lovely buying opportunity because you had the anchored VWAP off the low and a pullback in after a huge liquidation. That was a buying opportunity. I really don't want to be buying up here, even though right now it's saying it can potentially drift higher. Also, guys, just to remind you, we will respect initial balance rules now. All right, so we're printing right at the IB high. We're going to respect those IB rules. So if we can base above here, there's potential squeeze higher up into 500. If we start failing the initial balance, we'll get a failed auction. We can think about that rotation. If you're looking, I'm still looking at the spiders here. They're a point away from that 600. 599.77 was the overnight open, right? The pre-market, let's call it, for the ETF. I'm watching that level. QQQ very near its 20-day. SPY has reclaimed its 20-day. Like madness. Madness moves on the market here. Right, the range is massive. Even if you're going from overnight, if we just think about that overnight low, we've traded from 20,760 up to 21,383. Crazy range right now. You cannot be using big size. You do not need big size in this market. 1 or 2 micros will make you plenty of money. Yeah, Leron. Yeah, I know. It's when we gap down like this. I mean, I've done it from the open of Sunday. You could do one also from that pivot high on Friday, but it's not easy, mate. When they do that, normally that gap's so big. Yeah, bulls continue to try and squeeze higher here. I'll have a quick look at the mag, see how they're looking. Apple now 2.2% up. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Microsoft looking good here. Amazon so strong. It's unreal. Almost closing its gap already. So strong from Amazon. Google nowhere near closing its gap. Meta looking absolutely fantastic. Now going green on the day. About to break out of Friday's highs. Can't believe I'm saying that. Nvidia basing at the lows. And Tesla trying to close its gap as well. So market's looking pretty good here. It's looking pretty incredible. Great recovery from tech. Absolutely fantastic recovery from tech. So what they're suggesting is this was a massive overreaction in the futures market overnight and that we don't trust any information coming out of China until proven otherwise. That's kind of the sentiment they're saying. We're getting very close to these London levels now. All right, like we said, if it's going to hold and base, then this London pivot and 20-day become possible plays. I'm chilling right now. I'm trying to tell myself, do you need to take another trade? Do you want to give any back? I haven't been totally right all of today, as in my thesis. I've played accordingly, taken runners, stopped out where I needed to, but I was thinking we would peak out and get a rollover. It might still happen, but I'm not going to be fixed with an ego thinking it has to happen. It doesn't have to do anything. The market is telling me right now it wants to drift higher. So we've got no reason for me to think about a short right now. We're drifting into London high right now. So that pivot into 413, 412 will be the London high. Almost there, almost taken. Through that, you've got the 20-day above in that sort of supply block. And then the bottom end of Asia into sort of 473. So I'm going to watch how we trade up into these levels. This is sort of key territory here. London level, 20-day, Asia low. London high, Asia low, 20-day. That's what I'm watching right now. Retesting the initial balance high here. Does it soak for trend continuation, or is this a failed auction? Yeah, exactly. Lots of resistance right above, but from an hourly, it can move a bit higher from an hourly point of view. But from looking at 5-minute, 15-minute, there is some supply here. All right, looking at these levels here. This guy, this high, and this block, and this purple line is the 20-day. Red line is the London high. Yellow line is the Asia low. So watching those carefully. but no reason to short yet. Only reason to short really today was this breakdown here, and they absorbed it. Nothing else yet. Can think about short underneath the IB if they do that, or in the supply if there's a push and a failure pattern up there. Last night, yeah, I was watching that last night. Small caps trader, or are you saying there's more news coming out of it now? I know last night, big news. That's what I was watching. That's what caused the fear in the market. But we were just, I don't know if you just joined the stream, but I think the market sentiment is trying to shake it off, thinking, yeah, what a load of bollocks. You can't make and perform at that level with such little investment. Okay, yeah. So more news now, or you're just talking about that's what's moved the market in general? It's amazing how many, like when you think about it, when you think about what we've just gone through with TikTok and it being banned and them not trusting like their policies on like user and data breach, but everyone's out here downloading DeepSeek straight away, like the most powerful thing currently on the market, owned by China in the AI space. Like, let's download it and give them everything. It just makes me laugh, like how sentiment can shift so quickly. So do we base here on the initial balance, or is this going to be the failure and the rotation? Coming right up to the pre-market highs on the SPY, like we were talking about. Got up to 59.62. Remember, 600 is basically the level of the pre-market. Got to feel like shorts are starting to come in here. It's going to be a battleground here. Can see it. That push and failure so far. Back to IB now. Do they hold structure and support here, or is a bigger wash coming? At what point is the squeeze over, if at all? It's the questions I have in my mind right now. Nightbot needs to chill out. Sorry about that, small caps. It's an automatic thing. So here goes the SPY, 59.50 now. Want to see if and how it reacts around 600. That would be above the pre-market high by a tick or two. And into the gap then into after hours of Friday. So SPY would still need to trade to 608 to close that gap. Incredible. QQQ would need to trade up to 529. Huge. So yes, I like the idea of the short, but not right now. So I'll patiently stalk it, and I'm also trying to tell myself, you're up a considerable amount of money. Do you need to trade more? But the opportunities on days like this are there to have some big, big winning days. So it's that battle in my mind. Greed. Am I being too greedy, looking for more, or not? Oh, my Computer just froze in. Hopefully, it didn't affect any of you. Did for me. Whole thing froze. All right. What are we going to get here then? Are we going to get a shove and a fail? Are we going to get a failed auction? Or are we going to get that auction up to 500 now? Trading right at that London high. It's literally dangling at that London high. For me, we haven't taken that wick yet at around 13 or so. So this is London high. I want to see if we trade through that. A market very, very bullish on the short term here. On the lower time frame, super bullish. Short squeezing back up. Looking to try and close the gaps on some of these names. The only one which I think will never do it today is Nvidia, but the others aren't too far away. Tesla, 0.4% away. Google, 1.6% away. Amazon, 0.6% away. Microsoft, 2.4% away. That's asking a little bit, but you never know. You just never know. Holding the initial balance so far. So far, technically, we are holding higher highs, higher lows. We're above the initial balance. We're expecting a trend higher. If we're going to trend higher, we can expect a move into the next block up here. But again, we've just swept London high now. 20-day is sitting at 437. Location is not ideal. Remember, we have clawed back about 500 points so far on the NQ. Coming very close to that 600 on the ETF, on the SPY, that we were talking about. If they start to fail this level here, I'm going to think about this liquidity here. If they start to fail the initial balance, all the time they're holding initial balance, we have a chance for a rotation high. But if they start to fail, they're starting to look like 1, 2. I could argue this is second drive, maybe a third drive. We'll see. We'll see how they act here. Watching this closely now into that IB. Still base. Remember, this is your key level. This initial balance is your key level. What was that last shove? Did we get to pre-market high? Just missed pre-market high on the ETFs. Pre-market high I've got is 78. We traded into 70. They trade through 78. I think we tag 600. I'd imagine there's some option wall up there on the SPY. That's why I'm thinking about it. Do they start selling in front of it? $100 lot on the book now, down at 200, 21,200. It would be underneath that trap low. So retest of initial balance feels like it's coming here. Do they sweep and soak, or are we about to let go with a failed auction after a big pump? Yes, holding its IB. What's hard when the range is so big like this, like unless I'm using a higher time frame chart, I cannot see looking left. There's just too much range. It's a nightmare. So holding IB again here. Remains bullish until proves otherwise. This will be drive number 3 on a lower time frame. Does this fail? Do we start to print lower high, lower low? Still holding flow zones from a technical point of view, but I'm watching the initial balance. I'm watching that failed auction trade. ES letting go of its IB for now. No closure underneath, but I'm watching it start to try and move underneath. Here's the retest. All right, can we start to wash here? Or do they soak? Key level here at the initial balance into flow zones. Watching for a failure. If it fails, at least for a failure back into this level here, 340s. All right, so maybe here, if they're going to trap, would be underneath these. And then a bigger rotation will be this play and then down, which is what we've been talking about all morning. Something like that, potentially setting up with and when the squeeze is over. Looking good. Watching ES come back into the top range. It's RBS range, so watching to see if that holds or fails here. Still watching the initial balance, of course. If they've trapped enough bulls over that IB, they're going to get a failed auction. And remember, the higher time frame trend is lower. It's not higher. The higher time frame trend right now, as of last night, is lower. What's up, Dyson? Yeah, wild session overnight. Wild session overnight. So watching this to see if they start to sell into pops now, or if they're going to continue to try and hold the IB. Looking good for that rotation right now. So again, you have to respect this level here. This is where buyers came in. If these levels start to fail, if this RBS starts to fail, then we can chop around here and maybe we go lower, maybe they re-squeeze it, but this will give us a play from IB into these VWAPs. Is a legitimate play. It is a legitimate setup if it lets go. If it won't let go, then we need to respect that initial balance and respect the structure to the left. Remember, the structure to the left so far on the day has been up. So there's your flag, extension, flag can extend. But if we reject this and this is a failed auction, then we can rotate back to here. So there's a couple plays setting up here. But technically, this is your low that created this high. As long as we stay here, we can think about a fib of this range. Right, we want to reject 50% for lower prices, ideally. Yes, rejecting so far on that last push-up. It's early in this 5-minute bar, but it has not reclaimed that initial balance, which is a pretty good sign. Be careful if they start reclaiming here. If you're in short, that is. You'd want to see ES reject and the Qs roll. Beautiful. Looking good here. So watching this SBR level, partial out into that, then looking for some into these VWAPs, and then down here, and then if it really wants to puke, down here, and if it really wants to puke, all the way down here. I know it sounds wild, but it is possible. You have to respect looking left. You have to respect that this is where we created demand this morning. You must take some out into these levels, because this is so far technically can be a pullback until proves otherwise. Only reason I'm saying about this short side is because we're underneath the initial balance in a higher time frame trend, which is down, and this is the pullback. At some point, if this pullback ends, we'll be looking for a rotation back down towards these zones. Looking good here. You will not need much size in these. I cannot say it enough. You do not need crazy size. On the tape, you've got a 75 lot down at 300. Here we go, starting to let go here. Dipping down into that SBR level we talked about. This guy right here, all right? You just dipped into him. Sorry, RBS, saying it the wrong way. Right here, all the way down into this. All right, so this is where we know buyers have been all day. You have to respect that. Remember, key level is right here, but we're starting to back test it now. The initial balance, that's your key level. ES back testing it now as well. All of them holding structure, right? They've all held structure. That RBS level held across the board there on the ES. Meta now 2% up. Incredible. Apple 2.3% up. Meta 2.3% up as well. Rest of the mag all red. Tesla about to go red to green, or it's going to have an attempt to go red to green, which means it's closed its gap. So are they going to sell this now on that retest? Feels like the selling starting now, starting to get heavy. You can feel it in the tape, starting to rotate. See that yellow line? That's your RBS. So you have to respect that. When it starts to let go, looking a bit better. Yeah, bulls are really good. I think it was even more than that. It was just shorts probably got caught a little bit. These bulls will get exhausted at some point as we get close to gap fills and 50 and 60% of the fibs, which we're starting to do now. These key levels, we're starting to sell through these key levels. Remember, we can trade all the way back down into here. Here's your anchored VWAP off the 930. Here's your VWAP. Remember, a very typical trade would be a failed auction, and from here to here and maybe here, right? From the initial balance to a VWAP is a fairly typical trade, but you have to respect structure. Here's your structure here. You have to respect it. Big selling then, lovely. Yeah, exactly. 50% from Friday high and almost a fib from the Sunday open. Looking good here, team. You're looking very, very good on this rotation right now. So make sure you're covering some into the anchored VWAP. Make sure you're paying yourself a little bit here. If we start to let go of this low, it is night time for the bulls in the New York session. They can go back to sleep and let the bears take over again. If we're going to just rotate, we can have a rotational day from here to here and even from here to here. Wild, I know, but the range is that big, so that is what is possible. Towards this anchored VWAP, remember. We're looking for covers towards that anchored VWAP as a TP. Must pay yourself a little bit. Must pay yourself a little bit. Into the deep pullback flow zones now. Very close to that anchor. ES looks like it wants to fade into its VWAP as well, so we're looking good for that rotation from the failed auction back towards VWAP. Same trade. We talk about this trade pretty much every day on stream. Looking lovely here. Looking for a deeper wash if it will give it. If we can trade through it, we would love to see a deeper wash. That would be beautiful. Very, very close. And this is average price of buyers from New York right here, based on volume. This is average price from overnight. Looking fantastic. So tapped right into it, missed it by a tick or two. Very close, that 300 mark as well. You got that psychological level 300. There's an 81 lot there stacking the bid. Not a huge amount, but it's looking good. So I'd love to just hold runners for a continuation if possible, but who knows? Some covering there. Nice, Tyson. Great work. Yeah, exactly. Same, Peter. Looking to see if the anchored VWAP will fail. But covering into these buyers here, knowing that this is their support structure. We go from this pivot We're getting into a potential buying zone of the golden pocket here if bulls want to step back in right at these VWAP. So have to pay yourself a little bit of money, right? Have to be smart about it. Still expecting though, even though this lower time frame structure is sort of holding up on like a, let's call it a 5 or a 15 minute. How do we get this back? Where are you? Yeah, but a 5 minute starting to pivot though. So we've got push and fail, push and fail, push and fail. We know that this is where they want to trade back into. Do they hold this? If they don't, we can think about these moves here. Looking good, looking good. Just want these runners to pay would be really nice. Definitely holding up that 300's key. It was key earlier and it's key now. It's point of control and it's the VWAP off the 930 low, but it's also point of control. Technically, I've got point of control as sort of 290, but there or thereabouts. It's a big level. It is a big level. It was a big level on the way up, and it's going to be a big level if we're going to move down. Lovely. Here you go. Here's the anchor. So can we get through this anchor? Looking good. Don't want it to reclaim 300 now. Want it to stay heavy versus 300. Heavy versus point of control, really. 290s. We need to see it trade through 290s with some conviction. Definite covering into point of control there. You can feel it on the tape. That last wick down, that was right into point of control. Right into here, where we're finding some covering so far. If we let go of that, we can dig deeper. Must be taking partials here into these moves. ES2 VWAP here as well. SPY and QQQ a bit further to go, but ES is at its VWAP right now. We are at the anchored VWAP off the 930 low, so we are at the average price based on volume of buyers right now in this session. That's where we are. We are also in a fib of this swing point. Right, from here to here, we are in a fib of it. We're in a golden zone pullback of it. So don't love the new money shorts down here. New shorts were great on these rejections, like we talked about. This low created this high. Once we broke, we're looking for pullback in, clear rejection, trend. How low can we go? An attempt at a VWAP bounce here on the ES. That's what they're looking to hold. I'm not convinced. I really think this might just drift lower. Because the higher time frame narrative is saying lower prices. That's why I wanted to be thinking about being a short seller in this session. There's the bigger wash now. Here we go. Can we get down to VWAP? And then are we going to attack way, way lower? So next stop VWAP here into sort of 65. Starting to let go of point of control here. Can we get an hourly print to go and attack the old hourly low into 230s, which would be really nice. Trading into VWAP, ES letting go of VWAP, everything we talked about. Make sure you're paying yourself a little bit into VWAP. We can think about, are we going to really start to slam? Nice. So some covering into here, into the VWAP. Hopefully some of you got that with me. There's a nice short. And it might not look like much. That was a 110 point short. Hit me with a W in chat if you took it. All right, there's your buyers trapped. Failed auction, like we talked about. We either auction up or we failed auction, retest them. They become sellers. TP1 or TP1, TP2, TP3. Now thinking about down here. All right, this blue line is an anchored VWAP off the low, off the Globex low, if we're really going to go there. Not this one here. I'm going to change this color. What should we do this as? Maybe a dark blue or something. Here. Lots of you getting that with me. Lovely work. Foster Scott, TR, Steve, Peter, Idris, Myron, Marek, Tyson, Christy, Thumper. I had to wait for it a little bit, didn't we, for the short? It's okay. It's okay. It's just, that's how it is. You know, you can wait for the setup. When it's there, you take it. If it fails, you stop out. You have another go. Yeah, nice, Idris. Just letting it run. Yeah. It was nice, you know, and those of you, most of you with the W's are the same people I see here every day. So you know the plays we're looking for every day. I've been really clear today. I wanted shorts, right? I feel much more comfortable on the short side than I do looking for the squeeze long this morning, especially when we already opened so far, like up off the low. So I was looking for those prints to fail and some selling to come back in. Kathy looking good. Who knows how far down this can go, team, honestly. Right, honestly, I'm not joking. Who knows how far down this can go? There's a long way back to those Globex lows if it really wants to do it. So I'd say this pull here, how we act here is key. Do we sweep and stay heavy? Not do this. Don't want to see that. I want to see us stay heavy. If I zoom out here, you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's just take this off for a second. If we let go of this and we come and attack the New York Open and we get stuck here, a liquidation break here opens this move here up. So that's what I'd like to think about. If we hold this, I don't love it. I really just want to see boom, 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 and then cover, 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 cover. Good night. Thank you for playing. Had a great time. But how we respect this pivot here. This low technically created this high all the way back up here. We are in a sell. Our narrative is in a sell on the higher time frame. It is not in a buy. This morning buying has been the pullback leg. All right, so the pro trend is lower. The pullback leg has been the buying opportunity this morning. Yeah, that's fine, mate. You can play ES. Nice work. So ES trading back into its VWAP right now. QQQ hasn't quite come to its VWAP, but it is coming to a key level. Look how close to 600 we got on SPY. 599.70, right up to that pre-market high I talked about, that cash level. Sorry, team. Getting tired. I'm not sleeping well right now. Don't know what it is. 37 likes on stream. Let's get a few more. Looking to see if bounces set up a new fade opportunity here. Don't love the positioning right now, so runners only right now, but I would love to see if bounces start to fail for some form of maybe head and shoulder move, or just something like this, something to get down to here, and then something to get down to here, and then that for a trend day lower. Feels like it just wants to drift lower now, especially if ES keeps rejecting VWAP. I just want to see how we hang out at that low that we talked about. This low right here is key. This is your pivot that created this move here. Do they hold this to do up again? I really don't want them to do that. Would want a failure. But what I want doesn't matter. Well, I want pops to fail now for deeper prices. I want this to just start trading deeper prices. Nvidia now 14.7% down, almost 15% down on the day. It's stuck at the lows. Tesla tried to go red to green and close the gap and is now 1.2% down. Google 2.5% down. Amazon just under 1% down. And Microsoft 3.5% down. Blood across the board. All right, ES 1.7% down. NQ almost 3% down. RTY 0.65% down. YM almost red to green. Very impressive on YM. The Dixie's down 0.2%. We are in a bloodbath of a market right now. All right, so I'm like lower prices if I can get good areas to short off today. That's all I'm looking for. That is all I'm looking for. I'm not looking to trade higher prices today. I took one scalp long, and that was it. And even that, I was able to only risk like a couple points, which in this market is almost impossible. So it's the only reason I took it, and that was this trade right here. Everything else I've been thinking about shorts as and when it's ready. Looks like more consolidation possibly to go lower here. It is a battle over VWAP though, I will say that. So can they pop and fade it? Somewhere in here would be nice. Somewhere in the flow zones. Starting to look pretty heavy here. They snap these lows. It is night time. DeepSeek with news. We are subject to large-scale miscellaneous attacks. Just see that hit the news wire. Don't know why they would release that now. What is that about? So they've restricted it to China only now. That's exactly what I was saying this morning. Why, as a US citizen or anywhere else, when we've just banned TikTok for the same kind of reasons, would you then go and join the most powerful one going? That's definitely going to get investigated. Even the fact it's called DeepSeek, I find hilarious. Deep steal your data. Probably more likely. So can we get that drive into the flow zones and some sort of failure? It doesn't need to go even higher. Trying to look for something on a 5 minute, some little bump in the road. I really don't want to see it trade all the way up here. It's no good. Point control still into 90. So that 290, 300 still key. If they start reclaiming that, like the short thesis less at that point, they start reclaiming that. That was a retest of it right there. Into flow zones, into that level we just talked about, and they're starting to sell that. Can they get a bear flag here and break down? Remember, view up here, flow zones here, point of control here. Can they do this for a move to here, here, and here? Scott saying some buyers on tick spy needs to reclaim 6,032 to be trusted. Yeah, still, like, I definitely don't trust anything to the upside today, really. I think anything upside is a bit of a covering, short covering rally. Crawford, I will have a look. Remind me towards the end of the stream, my friend, and I'll have a look. Have you done the course? If so, it's probably in the Discord. I would say it's probably in the Discord if you've done the course. Starting to break down here. Starting to break down here. Everything we want to see. If they let go of this bear flag, it is very, very troublesome for the bulls. No worries, Crawford. Yeah, I'll have a look for you, bud. But I'm pretty sure it's in the room. It should be on like the Ninja Trader ecosystem. I can find out what it's called. Hang on. Give me a second. It's called like VWAP X or something. Yeah, VWAP X. Starting to break down here. If they wash these lows and just let it go, these bulls are going to be in big, 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 big trouble. Watching how it acts into 27s and then 200s. And if they let go of that, we're going way down. Watching that hourly low as well. Liquidity on the book, 100 lot at 200. I'm looking for big lots under him, and I can't see them. Earlier in the day, before the open, there was some 500 lots down in the 900 range. So I'm interested if they come back on the book or not. Or is this going to be absorbed for a higher low at some point on the H1 to do that sort of W look? Retesting view up again here. It is a battle zone here. Right, so you got the SPY above VWAP, ES below the VWAP, QQQ above the VWAP, NQ below the VWAP. NQ below its 930 VWAP, but it is above the anchored VWAP, all right, from the lows of Globex. So maybe we can trade into here. This is average price of buyer from that low point in Globex, from that Asia or London low. That's their average price. Anchored all the way down here, all right? If we start getting heavy under that, look out below. We're going to do a rotation. If we're going to do a technical IB rotation, if we're going to go from VWAP to IB high, failed auction, get stuck at IB high, VWAP, get stuck at VWAP, we can come back down to IB low. It is not out the question, all right? I'm looking for pro trend shorts. That is the play today. Get rid of this as well. All right, so nice continuation here. Lower time frame algo and that anchor VWAP here into OH. Remember, we've got that hourly low at 26. I just feel like it's going to keep fading here. There's no reason for this not to, really, unless shorts get themselves caught. But it feels very much like bulls are getting them caught in a short day. Not taking out that hourly low yet. Once we take that hourly low, we might get a quick trade into the low 200s. Very close to the hourly low here. Taking a little bit off here into that move. Beautiful. So see if we can wash now into 200 flat or 203, and then see if they let go of that and we get a full rotation to the IB. So see that anchored view up off the low, that bright blue line? Definitely want to respect that a little bit. The average price of buyers from the Globex low, this bright blue line. All the other VWAPs we're starting to let go of. In fact, I'm going to get rid of them. This one right here, this is what you want to pay attention to. We let go of this, this. This is where we broke out from this morning. Looking very, very nice here, team. All playing out. Everything we talked about playing out. It happens, Thumper. It happens. You might get a new setup for a re-add. Where did you get in from? Are you in from this rejection up here? I mean, that's 350, 150 points. It's really nice. More than 160. Yeah, really nice. That's a great trade. If you run out of runners after 160 points, don't beat yourself up. You know, it's a really good trade. Well done, bud. Coming into some sort of pre-market support levels here, as well as that anchored VWAP. Stay with you for another 35 minutes. We caught some nice trades in the end. This short is a fantastic trade. Fantastic trade. finding some bids off here. Just mark this out a little bit so we can remember. If I zoom in, so we just know the structure to the left. Can we get back to that IB low? It'd be bloody amazing, wouldn't it? Oh, question now is like, how close do I move my stop? You know, when it's when it keeps washing. I don't really fancy giving back 90 points to that pivot. Everyone's getting liquidated now. All these bulls getting run out. These are the plays that we were looking for today. These are the ones. So we've taken out that liquidity now into 200 or 20. What was that? Those wicks, 202 or so. So did they let go of this whole number 200 now? Do we go back to that IB low? It's another 100 points down to the IB low. It's a long, long, long way. So I'd have to be careful for the push up because I don't want to give back like 90 to 100 points to this pivot. Do not want to give that whole move back. Yeah, TR, I do, but not. I'm never ever like giving back 100 points is just I cannot do that. Yes, I agree. Like, yeah, maybe we fade loads more, but mentally it's pretty hard to be like, yeah, I'm willing to give back 100 points in this trade when we're still technically we're inside initial balance. Now, if we were outside the initial balance, let's say we were in a technical play here, we were beneath all VWAPs and we were in a sell, and I was thinking, okay, I can target like this down here now, then I'd probably be more willing to let like bounces back into it play for the fade. I still think we fade lower here. Like I'm not really interested in longs. I think all longs get sold into in this session. Might be proven wrong. Like I said, I'm adaptable. I'm happy to be proven wrong. But for me, the higher time frame narrative is in a sell. It is as simple as that. What I have to be careful of, let me just go from the low to the high. I haven't fibbed this out the other way yet. So 50% pullback would take us into 21,090 from low of day to high of day. So from, I'm on the right chart from you. From here to here, still have room to pull back into this, and this would be a wash of this level as well, so that helps me add thesis. So would I like that? Absolutely, that's what I'd love. Does it need a pop first? Maybe, maybe. This is quite the bleed off the high. Remember, it's a 200-point move now. That's a 200-point move. We got in here, all these breakdowns. Maybe it needs to pop up here, steal some liquidity before doing it. I don't know. It depends how many bulls are in pain right now. But my narrative for the day was waiting and looking for the move for a bearish trend. I am going to respect this anchored view up off the low, though. I have to. If we start getting under that with conviction, then I know the average price of bulls off that huge pivot low, they are also underwater. And then I feel pretty confident. 7 more likes to get to 50, team. Come on, do me a favor, help me out. I've given you some lovely setups here again today. What I'd be cautious about here is a reclaim of this and a flow zone support here. But until that, I'm thinking about fading pops lower. But really, I have to question if I want more size on or not. If we think about a measured move. This is consolidation. Yeah, it's about right. It's about right. If we're going to do a measured move, it is also about right. I have to be patient now. I have to be patient. I've made really, really lovely money today. I'm not going to force anything in this market right now. All right, team. If it's cool with you, give me 2 minutes because I need another coffee. I'm getting tired. My eyes are getting tired. Trying to teach while I go is tiring. Hopefully my wife's left some coffee in the pot and then I'll be quick. But just bear with me. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. There we go. That was super duper quick. All right, so pop the flow zones again. Sellers coming in the flow zones. Trend is bearish. Multi-time frame trend is bearish. Lower time frame and higher time frame conditions are currently bearish. That happened as soon as we started selling. All right, as soon as we started selling, we flipped. Momentum clouds are underneath deep pullback, underneath most of the flow zones, and almost underneath the lower time frame algorithm. That will help with a big sell point if it can hold underneath that with conviction. Like I said, my feeling is pops will get sold into now. We are in a sell. And now you have to think, if you really want to be a buyer in this market, if you're thinking this is cheap, is it that cheap now when you know actually cheap is down here? Right, that's still 500 points higher. If you can get the rotation here, if you're convinced that this is a cheap buy, I still think we liquidate this. And then we can do that move, maybe. Or maybe we go into that Q1 selling pattern, Q1, Q2 selling pattern. A lot would depend on Wednesday, I would say, on the FOMC. We're into earnings season as well now. Apple expected to not have great numbers, which is why they've been in a sell all of last week, but they've found a bottom, clearly. That 220, level 219, clearly a bottom. Looking good here, team. No point in trying to pick lows on this. Just join the trend, let it go lower. How many of you got a runner left? Has anyone got some left? I would kind of like it to protect this high right now. Not convinced we do. Feel like that could be a quick sweep to go lower, but it's tricky. TR saying he's down to his last contract. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's a huge move. You know, we've had a huge move for this fade. Chris still in it with runners. There you go. So what I was saying, I wouldn't be surprised if they need to come up here first and clear some of these guys out. This really is not surprising to me at all. So I was saying I'd like them to protect that, but I don't think they will. Here's the drive. That's the time. How far can they come here? Yeah, it's a big stop run, that. It's a big stop run. Not even got to VWAP yet. ES hasn't got to VWAP either. They might need to trade back up towards VWAP and check that liquidity up there. What would worry me would be this. Same as always. That's where my fear or whatever would sort of come in a little bit. Oh, sorry about that, team. That's what would concern me slightly. Still looks good. Still looks good. This is what we were talking about. That clear out to go lower. Flag. Fear of Highland cows. What's fear of Highland cows? This looks fantastic now, team. This is exactly what I was talking about. It's that kind of move that makes bulls think they're going to be okay. And the trend is down. Oh, yeah, it's probably the background. It's on a random screensaver background. Yeah, sorry about that. Watching liquidity on the book. There's a buyer at 18700 lot there. $20 to your lunch. Sorry, I'm just looking at the time thinking, does this do the move before lunch? Does it need more of a relief before lunch? I'm having a look at the tape. Like, there are lots of things to consider right now. It's just to start breaking down, run for the lows. Yeah. Most of them filled there, actually. He just got filled. And the sellers are up at over 21.50, but they're not big in size. Really not big in size. There's no big buyer lower. That's the only thing. There is no huge buyer lower like there was earlier. Yes, purple lines IB low. Yeah, purple lines IB low. QQQ and SPY now stuck beneath their respective VWAPs. ES beneath the VWAP as well. Everything trading beneath VWAP. Trading beneath this anchored VWAP off this low print overnight as well, but only just. It's not been a huge move away from this. This blue line here is average price of buyers off the pivot low in the Globex session. So this is their average price. You might as well consider this them trying to reaccumulate. If they start selling this with conviction, we move lower. Because that's saying, okay, we're out. We're out. We made our squeeze out. We got what we wanted. We're moving lower. They're trying to hold on to this. You can see how key this sort of area is right now. No one on the tape now until you get some relief all the way up to 250 as possible. Sorry, just checking FinViz here, just having a look at all the sectors. So you can see like the divergence is amazing. Like Apple holding up really, really well. Meta holding up well. Consumer stuff holding up well. Healthcare holding up very, very well. Tech and communications, really actually a bit of a mixed bag. If you would think if Apple was big red today, the market would be in big, 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 big trouble. $175. Oh yeah, I see him. Yeah. Starting to try and reclaim that anchor. So this is, you have to be cautious here. I still like fading pops as a thesis for the remainder of the day, but if they start reclaiming too many levels, I think it'd be like a time to leave it alone scenario. Had some really nice trades today. Don't want to get overly greedy, which is easy to do in days like today when you see the range so big. Like I said, I'm up over 5 figures. I have to question why I'm even here right now. Play that game in my head. Is it pure greed? Yeah, I would have liked that trade as well. I would have liked that trade into it, but it's holding like a 5-minute imbalance where we broke out from this morning after sweeping those lows. So it's holding this. All right, so this is the low. This is your bullish candle at 9:30. Boom, pull back in, sweep these. It's holding these. I don't want to see it do this. This is dangerous, but maybe it needs to. I'd like to see some form of quasi formed here. But here's your trade back to VWAP. Sorry, team, my stomach is in pieces. The coffee's probably not helping. And you probably don't want to hear about that on stream either. But I'm telling you. So it's starting to reclaim here. Counter trend longs. Going upside here. What pivot do they need to take out? What have you just said? Amazon, holy moly. Let me have a look. Yeah. I'm telling you, I've been saying it the last 2 weeks. Amazon is flipping strong. Every time this market's weak, Amazon is strong. That thing, if we go into a bullet, if that thing becomes cheap, I'm loading up, because if we go into a bullish cycle, that thing is just going to absolutely boom. It's going to boom. Relative strength when the market's bleeding is impressive. And it's different to Apple, which is trading off a low. Amazon and Meta are trading off highs, right? On daily charts. It's a very, very different scenario. So do we need to come and sweep out 90s now? Liquidity on the book 300s. I'm just questioning why I'm even here right now. 300s, 450, 500s. Gosh. I really hope I'm not coming down with something here. I would be fuming if I'm ill this week. Like I said, this is what you need to be careful of. Be very careful of this. You need them to do this or even fade in front of it for continuation lower. If they start reclaiming these, short thesis starts to go out the window a little bit. Am I on the right chart? No, you're not, Alex. You absolute wally. All right, like I said, be careful of this, right? If they reclaim these, we can get squeezed back up, because shorts probably started trying to attack underneath this low rather than being short here and covering into that. Yeah, exactly. That's blue line. Reacted from there, so they're trying to hold that. I still think, like, my gut says lower prices. Like, I still instinctively think lower prices are coming. It's just like, when, how long can you hold, and when, kind of thing, you know. Maybe now. Maybe now already. I don't know. How long till lunch? 10 minutes till lunch. Watching these hourly bars. We're underneath point of control again, or we're right at point of control again. And this is the problem. This here, and this here. This is the battle. That's the battle. Apple impressive, man. Almost 3% up now. Nvidia's still bleeding. 15.4% down. That thing is getting destroyed. Yeah. What are you talking about, Ty? Buying dips in what? Individual names or the ETFs? I'm going to wait, because if we are going to go into a Q1 sell, I think we can have like a really, 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 really big pullback on the market. Looking good here. All right, so like we said, maybe that's the sell starting. Can they go for lower prices back to new lows? They get a breakdown here. The answer will be yes. I don't do FOMC, Ty. I've got no interest in trading FOMC. Liquidity gets thin, the better reaction comes tomorrow. Tomorrow comes Thursday. Literally have no interest in doing it. So many traders do it. New flush coming on this market here. So failure of this opens the door for this. Buyers stops are all here. Like we said, we're looking to fade pops. They never reclaimed, selling back down. They fail in here now. They create more liquidity to go lower. Sorry, I was just texting a family member because I messaged them this morning saying, good thesis on the market, but you were early. And they were like, I'm not early. I'm like, pretty sure calling a short last Monday, sitting through 700 points green for almost new all-time highs and 2 pivot highs, I'd call that early. Because no one's sitting through that. You're getting stopped out. It doesn't matter if you're a swing trader, you're getting stopped out last week if you were trying to short last week. So funny how people react. Human nature is love to be right, but you just have to admit sometimes you're not. If you were short last Monday, for sure you got fucked. So to try to say any other way is hilarious. Just like if you were long last night, for sure you woke up and got absolutely fucked. Pardon my French. Yeah, I don't like trading FOMC at all. So they protected that low. Well, they swept it by a tick. They're still protecting it. I don't like FOMC, Ty, because it's just too high risk and it's so thin. You're just asking to get wrecked. I'd much rather let everyone else do that stuff. Come the next day once I can see the levels, the extreme points it's traded to, and then I'll trade it. The only reason I would ever trade FOMC is if I just wanted to gamble on an account and just think, yeah, I think he's going to do a cut or I think he's going to do this. Otherwise, I don't want to play against news algos. Like, they're the worst, man. They're looking for keywords in what he says. So this is the move we just talked about. Now, if they fade this, you get a bigger sell. All right, this we just talked about. If they trap more bulls here, you get the bigger sell. Yeah, micro head and shoulders kind of look. Yeah, that kind of look there. You just need more bulls. You need more short-term bulls in, but you have to be careful on ES. I'm watching ES because obviously outside of tech, we just talked about FinViz, having a look at the whole market. Outside of tech's not too bad, but as long as ES stays heavy versus VWAP, I think you get new lows coming. I made more money than I could ever imagine in the last meeting. Yeah, I mean, it goes both ways, Ty, right? You can make more money than you imagine, and you can also lose more money than you imagine. Because if the look, the way I describe it, look how thin this market is now, right? We're trading 100-point 1 minute candles off nothing. We could trade 200, 300, 400-point candles off him in minutes easily. Easily. And if you're the wrong side of that, your stop isn't going to do shit. Your stops are market fill stops, so you're going to get stopped out. You might have a 20-point stop that fills 150 points later. That's the problem. Gambling today? I don't think today's a gamble, Gary. I think there's really nice setups. I'm back in this short right now. We were short here. I just got back in for a fade. Now we've swept that, and I'm looking for this to attack the lows, come into this block, and ideally the IB. At least that's what I would like. Whether it does it or not is a whole other thing, but that's what I'd like to see. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is what we were talking about. Do you remember earlier when we were saying once we break under here, I would call it more of a quasi. This is like a quasi. The shoulder would be here if it was a head and shoulder, whereas we're building that liquidity lower, which is even better for lower prices because buyers can't even get it up here. They're stuck. If buyers' average price, if they pivoted in here and added and added and added, and then they chased, their average price is up here. We're not even letting them out. It's not even wanting to let them out right now. Bigger problem is we're into lunch now. But yeah, I'd say Jonathan Mooney is like a reasonable call. I would just call it more of a quasi, only because that right shoulder isn't as high as the left. So it's more like it's like a tilted shoulder, right? The right shoulder is like tilted down. It's not let buyers get out yet. Still love to see them fade this lower. I don't want them just to reclaim everything during lunch in low liquidity. That would be a bit shit. I don't really want to see sit here much longer either. I'm just sat in this trade trying to let it work out here. DeepSeek just dropped another open AI source called Yanis Pro 7B. It can generate images. That's better than DALI from OpenAI. So they just continue to drop more stuff during the day. going to have another go at reclaiming here. But I don't like the look of ES here. That's the bigger problem. What the sector's doing. Consumer looking good. Healthcare really strong. Financial pretty good as well. So you get a mixed bag here. ES reclaiming now. SPY reclaiming now. QQQ reclaiming now. Maybe it's going to put on a bit of lunchtime pressure upside, which is unsurprising. Like if you were short, you're probably covering into lunch. So that's probably my signal to jump out for the remainder of the session. Lovely trading today, team. Really enjoyed that session. It was nice and smooth once we got that sell come in. Had to wait for it, but eventually we got it. And I'll be back same time tomorrow. Hopefully lots of you made some money with me. Oh, yes, Crawford, the indicators. All right, let me have a look now. Well done. Well done, mate. I tell you what, Crawford. Go to the end of the course. You're doing the course, right? Go to the end of the course. Email me. And I will zip them up and send them to you in case I can't find them. I'm just going to have a quick look now. But if I can't find them now, just email me. Gary, about 9:15, 9:20 in the mornings. See if I can find it. No worries, Gary. Okay, this one, I haven't used this one, Crawford, but this might work for you. Most of them will be in that same place, what I've just said, the Ninja trader ecosystem. Most people develop indicators there for free. And there's another one here for free I've just found as well. All right, so hopefully that helps you, mate. Okay, thanks, Gary. I hope so too. I mean, I'm still in this. I'm still looking for lower prices on the session, but maybe I've been a little bit greedy not covering this last move in lunch from that last push. I mean, I took a partial, but how many points was I up there? I'm going to say I'm a bit greedy there. I'm going to be honest. Taking 70 points and not taking more off is probably greedy. But I'm convinced we're going for lower prices. We are in a sell. We're in a daily sell, an hourly sell, a 4-hour sell. We're now in an M15 sell. We're in an M5 sell. We're not in an M1 sell, but we're going to be in an M1 sell. So really, I'm convinced of lower prices, which is why I'm trying to hold on. Bruce Sands, hello, mate. I want to sign my son up for the course. How much is it? And when after distribution of payment can he start? If he wanted to defer based on the time of his class, is that possible? Bruce, it's $649. It's 20 hours and it's totally on demand. So as soon as he signs up, he would have access to it and he can just go at his own pace. And then he can join the Discord room for free and ask any questions to me or any of the other traders there that he needs help from. Hopefully that helps. Lots of them are in this room right now above. Crawford, go to the bottom. Go to the very bottom of the course and it's in there. I don't want to give it away on here because I'll get absolutely hammered with emails, mate. But I just posted 2 VWAPs for you above that you can use. Alex, can you point me to your video in recovering from a loss? I made a big mistake. Yes, let me find it for you now. It's looking good for a sell now. Come on, market. I'm just trying to find that video for you, Aaron. Bear with me. There's one called, I don't know which one you want. Are you looking for the psychology one? There's that, and let me find this. Where's the psychology one? Really want to see this market take out these lows and trade to IB low here. It should be gone. What time of the day is the course? The course, Bruce, is on demand. Yeah, so he can access it anytime. Anytime. So it's just like reading a book or anything else. Never traded before, so I wait for your recommendation as he's a novice. They're the best traders, to be honest, because he won't have any bad skill set. He'll come fresh. It's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Can we take out these lows here on consolidation? That's what I'm wondering. ES with a nice rejection there. I really should be gone for the day. I'm just trying to hold some of this size from this last entry here. This rotation, covered a little bit here. Added a bit here, looking for this to roll down. We'll be covering some underneath this if it gets there. Come on, breakdown. We're looking good. We're under VWAP. Like every time frame is bearish right now, other than technically the M1 isn't. But as soon as we snap this low, we will be. Everything else is bearish in terms of structure. Sit here for a minute longer or so. Just need it to break down. Watching the tape here, there is a 115 lot sitting just below this pivot, these lows. So he's looking to absorb under here. So I'm looking for him to get run. Maybe I'll cover one into that and then wait and see. We're going to just trade back and forth and create a range here. I'm less interested. Especially this anchored VWAP. I need to respect it. I need to respect that we're in lunch as well. But really, I'm thinking that this really should at some point rotate. That last pop was good. Failing off that. Come on, just going to wash these lows and I can get something off. Yeah, I agree, TR. It's looking pretty good, that quasi. Especially with this. Just need this to snap. cover a little bit in here and then see if we get a waterfall moment. Yeah, Cap's done the course, Bruce, so he'll be able to tell you. But yeah, it starts very, very, very basic. It builds very slowly. It's great for someone that knows absolutely nothing. Just slowly builds them into it so they have an understanding of how and why the market moves. Just some really core key principles. I'm really trying not to take one off here. Like every part of me is getting very, very close to taking one off here. But I really don't want to. I want to see us trade down through this low of 85. I'm taking one off. I can't be greedy here. I have to take one off. I can always add more back on a pop. If I don't pay myself here, I'm going to be fuming. Building out a range here. All right, so short stops will be around here. If we expand above this, I would not like being short above here unless they fail back inside. Buyer stops are here. This is your range. This is the building of liquidity. You don't want to be trading inside that range. You need to be playing edges or breakout for continuation or fail breakout for failure back down. Edges or breakout for a continuation or fail breakout for a trade back inside, right? That's the only play setting up here. And this range is actually quite big. It doesn't look big, but you're talking about to max around 80 points, right? So you don't get chopped up in here. You will be absolutely livid if you give your day back getting in chop where we took nice trend down. You will be livid if you get stuck in here. Don't do it. All right, trade the edge. I'm in at an edge right now, so it's okay. I'm in at like 67s all the way up here. I'm looking for that breakdown. Mike, hi Alex. I see what you mean by lower prices, especially when you zoom out of the 1 hour model. We may have that next leg down, but then again, anything can happen. Yeah, exactly. Anything can happen. But like when we look at the higher time frame, we have to respect how the market moves. Right? We had this. These guys are stuck. We gap down, sell. What do we expect here? A bounce. What do we expect after a bounce? Continuation. We have to respect that continuation. I expect this to get taken out. It doesn't have to be today. It can be later in the week. Those are the levels I'm looking to get taken out. The reason I'm looking for those levels to get taken out, I was looking for them to get taken out a few weeks ago. These same levels. Remember when we were down here, Mike, you might not have been here in stream. Not sure I recognize your name, but when we were down here in January, early January 10th, we thought we might liquidate these guys, and we didn't quite. Right, so what I'd like to see is something like this week. And then I don't care what we do. We can trade back up. We can reject and go lower. It will depend on FOMC and the Bollinger Bands. But yeah, from a model-wise, from how the market likes to move, generally we would expect lower prices. The problem on the H1 is if it creates a bull flag here and a higher low. What you would not want to see as a seller is a reclaim of this and that squeeze up. You don't want to be selling in this move. You will blow up. If it does this, just let it squeeze or join long. And then we can think about, does a sell set up there for a rotation back down? Or do they reclaim and do a giant squeeze out back to all-time highs because the news from China was nonsense? I don't know. I don't know. I'm open to all of it, right? I'm open to all of it. That buyer's just lifted. Just break out to the downside so I can get off stream, please. I'm going to put a stop clock on this. In fact, shall I move my stop tight? Maybe I'm going to say I'm going to move my stop tight into 41 so I don't stay here too long. So my stop's above that pivot now, 41. And I'm going to look for a rotation into the initial balance low. Right, so my stop now is at 41. I'm looking for a rotation into this. Okay, my entry's up here. So my stop's in the money. I want to see deeper prices. That's what I want to see. Really shouldn't be this hard, man. Oh, problems time of day. Here over lunch. Kind of against my rules, but it's just a runner in the money, so really want to get off. Do not like being here over lunch. Start to get seriously, seriously tired. All right, be right back. See if it goes for me while I'm gone. Oof. Still not there. It's coming. It's coming. I know it's coming. All right, 10 more minutes until the half hour. I'm going to close out. No matter what, I'm getting off stream in 10 minutes. Otherwise, what happens is I get really tired and then my stream quality goes down through the week. And I haven't been sleeping well last few nights either. 10 more minutes, team. Staying longer than I should. So if you've got any questions, ask away. So I'm just looking at the tape, seeing if I can see a big boy order anywhere down below, but I can't really. I'm looking for 100 lot, 200 lot, maybe even more. There we go. Hey, so liquidation break. Can they sustain lower prices? That's what we want. We don't want a sweep and a scoop here. We want lower prices. All the way down to the IB low, please. Yes, Jonathan, I have. I was caught up last year in all that bullshit when Apex decided to change their rules retrospectively and missed out on about $60,000. So, yes. For me, it's just all about like the liquidity, really, Ty. So like even CPI, like I tend not to trade news. I don't really want to trade news events. I like to trade what happens afterwards. Like FOMC is okay. Like if there's a decision which is obvious and clear, and I can trade some decent liquidity to some nice liquidity pools after, it's fine. But what I don't want to do is like, let's say FOMC, we do a 500-point drop instantly, for example. It kind of takes away all thesis. I'm not going to chase it short because of how I play. So I'd have to wait for it to build out structure. That structure's probably better the next day. Bear flag forming. I mean, I think it already formed, mate. That's what we're talking about here, yeah? this like a quasi. This was the flag. So I was shorting these for this breakdown. So I'm looking for covers into these areas now. So I was short here, here. Didn't take this, waited actually, and then these for this. I didn't take this because I didn't know if they'd want to run it back up into here at that point. But once we broke under it, I felt good about these. Oh yeah, Gary, don't you worry. I took some in that last shove down. Thank you, my friend. Don't you worry, sir. I have no problem paying myself. I was probably a bit greedy earlier, but paid myself then. So really, you would need to see pops fail now versus this level here. This is where buyers are stuck. If they don't fail this, if they reclaim this, then the buyers are going to be able to squeeze all the way back up because you might have got shorts attack that low. So I'm thinking about very, very simple support become resistance area right here. This needs to hold up for downside pressure to here. If they reclaim, not interested in it at all. There's a seller up at 225 now. So he's trying to let the market squeeze up to him. There's a buyer at 150, 130 lot, seller at 225, 110 lot. I'm going to be gone in 7 minutes time, no matter what. ES did not sweep its lows there, so you have divergence across the market. Reason for that, healthcare strong. We talked about it. Healthcare's been strong. Healthcare and consumer strong. Tech weak. Apple almost 3% up. Nvidia now 16.5% down. Absolute slaughter. I would expect that's a good buy in the next couple of days, just based on SSR, not even having to look at the charts and a technical setup. At some point, that's going to be a good buy. So any reclaim here with conviction, I'll probably be out. No worries, Andrew. Good work today. I think most of you are green. AVGO, wow, really? I remember playing that stock years ago. What's Palantir today? It's trading in its IB. It's a big gap down though. Not too bad. Palantir can still do this. Still possible. Looking for that 100 move. Looks good. Kicking myself. I remember looking at Palantir in sixes. I don't know if Razorback is in chat. He used to trade with me. Convinced out of it by a friend of ours. And I was looking at swing buying that as an investment at 6. Yeah, YM looks good. I mean, it's just about what that market's made up of, right? So NQ, the heaviest with tech, ES, slightly less tech, RTY, way less tech, and YM, like, basically none. YM looking good. So, like, if you're a buyer today, you'd want to be a buyer in, like, YM and RTY, wouldn't you? So reclaiming those levels then. So that is time for me to go. That's just saying time for me to go. And they're probably going to sell as soon as I go into the 200s, but enough money made. We had good fun on stream. Thank you for joining me, everyone. I'll be back same time tomorrow. Please be safe into the remainder of the day. All right, just remember, you are in an initial balance. Yes, I'm expecting lower prices, but you have to look left. All right, you must look left. Take these off. These are areas where we found support earlier in the day. All right, so these must be cover points. You cannot be short into these areas. You need to be covering into these areas. If we break down from these areas, then you can be thinking about re-ads. If we break down and want to do this, then you can be thinking about a re-ad. But do not get short into here. You are asking for a squeeze back up if you do that. All right, the shorts were up here. This is where we were shorting today. We're not short in the hole down here. Trade safe. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great day. Those in Discord, I will pop in later, but I doubt I execute any more trades. Peace and love. Be kind to each other and use hard stops. I cannot say it enough. Use hard stops in this market. Yeah, no worries, Steve. No worries, Marit. See you tomorrow. Have a good one.